What's up, y'all? A little faith, and welcome to the 8th episode of Season 2 of the Fagnostic Podcast. I'm your hostess, not your Moses, Matt Hayes, and if I'm still giving you episodes, it means that I'm still looking for answers. Today, I'm sharing a conversation I had with two board members of the nonprofit volunteer organization Handle with Care that started here in Los Angeles. Handle with Care provides emergency care packages to the unhoused communities of which they serve, and in this episode, you'll learn about how it came about and how to create a chapter in your city. I'm honored to call these two guys my good friends for many reasons, but especially because of how much they care for those experiencing homelessness. Mark Gamarra is an HR bigwig who has a passion for assisting the unhoused. He works to organize fundraisers, promote initiatives, and create partnerships with local agencies to support the organization's mission. Kellen Martz is an affordable housing lawyer and a city commissioner on rent and housing issues, and takes pride in being a part of an organization that has now branched out to Portland, Sacramento, and perhaps coming soon to a city near you. If you're ever in LA, you can probably catch the three of us at happy hour at Gym Bar or High Top, so come and look for us on the patio. Welcome to the show, y'all. Kellen and Mark, welcome to the show. Okay, so first things first, we'll go in order of, well, who's closest to me. Kellen, are you a believer?
I'm not a believer. No.
Okay, he says emphatically. Mark, are you a believer?
In some things, yes.
Okay.
Not in the greatest of all things.
Which is
The,
God.
the idea of a God.
The God that you were raised with in the Catholic tradition.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
there we go. Can we identify your pronouns, Kellen?
He, him.
Great. Mark?
Same. He, him.
Thank you. Okay, let's get going. So, you have a charity called Handle with Care that's based here in West Hollywood. I want to talk about that. Mark, I know that you were raised Catholic, and as any good Catholic gay boy does, there's some trauma to talk about. So we'll talk about it. But I first want to talk about, and you can go one by one, but just kind of tell us where you're from, if you grew up in a religious household, or at least, in a even small towns and liberal families, there's still some level of trauma we experience if we're not, abiding by religious morals now. So yeah, Kellen, where'd you grow up? How was it?
Yeah, I grew up in a town called Wenatchee, Washington. It's very center of the state, and it's about 30,000 people.
Is it east of the Cascades?
It is east of the Cascades.
Okay.
Yeah, you come out of the Cascades and you land right in Wenatchee.
Okay,
So.
And the Cascades, from what I understand, are the Mason-Dixie line of Oregon.
Absolutely.
And that west of it is like super like hippie potty, LGBTQ friendly. Then east is just like Alabama.
Yeah, it's called the Curtain, the Iron Curtain. Washington and Oregon are divided by that, and it's not just religion, it's politics, it's weather, it's everything. It's, wet Seattle to dry desert
So
Washington.
did you grow up then religious?
No. My parents split up, but they both, I think, agreed that we would be exposed to religion and explore it for ourselves.
Sure.
But my parents were not religious, but they took us to church,
What kind?
Methodist.
Okay. So the Methodists are okay.
Yeah, that's why. They're like, they didn't know much about religion. They're like, let us find the nicest one.
Right.
And, we would go to the big holidays, Easter, Christmas, whatnot.
Sure.
And the town being religious itself, it's Republican, it's pretty religious. I was exposed to it just by my friend groups, too.
Right. Okay. Mark, you grew up in New York.
Yes.
Have you heard of it?
Island. Staten Island.
Oh, wow. I knew it was Staten Island.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Talks about it a lot. The garbage dump.
Delete that.
Do you remember that Will and Grace episode when they would go out? It was Andy Richter, I think, that played the setup date, and they were talking about how is that the sunset? No, that's just the dump.
Yeah, pretty much.
You grew up Catholic, that much I know.
Not just Catholic, doubly Catholic, which is
What is
Irish
doubly?
Catholic on my mom's side, Spanish Catholic on my dad's side.
I didn't know your mom was Irish Catholic.
Oh yeah.
Was she a ginger?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I was actually thought that was gonna be a ginger as well.
What a letdown!
I know.
Kindred spirits.
I know. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Great. So you were at mass every week. You were
mass every week, sometimes once during the weekdays with my grandmother. You're kind of forced into like the you must serve the church, so you're going to be an altar boy.
Yes.
Which nowadays is an altar server, because girls can do it.
Oh, good for them.
Maybe one day they could be priests, too. Doubtful.
Don't hold your breath.
But yeah, so kind of just really ingrained in every last bit of it all.
Do you know the musical Altar Boys?
Of course, yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah, it's a great show.
I did a review of it, my first theater contract after college. We did a musical review of it, and I think I was Luke. I forget which, anyway, but yeah, that's a fun show. Y'all should look it up.
Yes.
So when did you start questioning what you were believing? Or when did you know you were gay, first of all?
This actually came up in conversation this weekend with a friend. I first realized I was attracted to other guys my age at like 7 or 8.
Okay.
Very young.
But you didn't come out for a while.
No.
Was it because of family or religion?
Yeah.
Or
Mainly family and life experiences that kept me closeted. That was fear-driven because of my Catholic upbringing.
even though you were living in a very liberal city?
Yeah. Well, take that a step back.
Yeah.
New York is a very
Staten
liberal
Island.
city. Staten Island is not at all.
Right,
It is
okay.
Irish, Italians, and this is what I grew up with for the most part, who are all very much traditional,
Yeah.
family-based, religious-based. You know, it was kind of the question that when you met somebody on a soccer team or a baseball team was, what parish do you belong to?
Yeah.
Where do you go to church on Sundays? That kind of mentality.
You know, being from Alabama, and my town was probably like 60,000 people, so like twice the size of yours, Kellen. And we had one Catholic church in that town, in a town of 60,000.
Wow.
Because the only Catholics in the South, for the most part, are Yankees.
That have moved there.
Yes.
Yeah,
So we
they
only.
relocated.
So if you know someone is Catholic, you like. I remember hearing them refer to. Oh yeah, they're Catholic. They're Northerners.
Very much so.
So and anyone who went to the Catholic Church didn't have an accent, and they had tons of kids, and like they were all like from the North. I mean,
Right.
all the time.
Definitely an outsider vibe.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
they were for sure the othered. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a lot of Catholics in Wenatchee.
Really?
Because there's a large Latino population.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So-
yeah.
Yeah. In our town, we probably had 4, 5, 8, I don't know. More than one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they had their own private school as well, so that's where a lot of them went. You know,
Yep.
the typical like Catholic school outfit. I feel like I remember seeing that. So recognizing that you had same sex attraction, like 7 or 8 years old.
Right.
Kellen, what about you?
I was about the same age. I think how you put it, you didn't say I was gay. You said I was attracted to men because, at that age you're processing it and it doesn't.
We didn't know how to put a label on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What is this? But I remember very well, like 4th grade, which is about 10 years old. I was like, I like boys. Like I would see boys, I'm like, they're cool. But it was like way more than just you're cool, I want to be your friend. I'm like, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Which is like, they're really cool.
Or like wanting to look like someone that you like. There are little things back then. I feel like you look back and you're like, oh, you wanted to walk like them or wear the same clothes. Was
Their
that
clothes was the big thing.
was that looking up at somebody, or was that like being into somebody?
Being into
I still
somebody.
don't know.
Both. All of the above.
So did you? I mean, when did you start coming out to yourself then, Mark?
I started coming out to myself probably. I admitted it to myself
It's like right before
when I
COVID.
was. I know, right? I admitted it to myself when I was 14.
Okay. When you say admitted it to yourself in a prayerful, God, can you get rid of this kind of thing, or?
In a way. So I had a very unfortunate family experience where my uncle, my dad's brother, died from AIDS.
I remember you telling me
And
this.
he died on my birthday. And it was my first day of high school. And didn't go to school, obviously, for the first week because we were dealing with all
Did you know
this.
he was sick?
We knew he was sick for a year.
But you don't know what
But
from.
everyone called it cancer. And it wasn't cancer. And we knew it wasn't cancer.
So
And
this would have been 1942.
1991.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Not that old. But I remember my family sitting me and my brothers down and being like, if anyone asks about this,
Oh my God.
you're not to tell them what he really has. And this is around the time where 2020 and Dateline, they were doing big stories about the AIDS crisis and whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, this is now hitting our family. What the hell? We found out, or throughout the course of the time when he first got sick, when he passed away, his partner Bobby, who was always his quote-unquote roommate best friend, had died of AIDS 6 months before.
Oh my God.
So we never understood that. I was very inquisitive as the annoying middle child, where I was like, why is Uncle Bobby's car in our driveway? Where is he? What's he doing? They're like, oh, he got sick and he died. And I'm like, well, okay.
They didn't tell you till after?
Until after. Yeah. And I think it was to protect us, at least in their mind, to protect us.
So they didn't use what happened to them as a... Because I feel like every parent has an inkling when their kids are gay. They didn't use it as like a cautionary tale of like,
no,
this could be you.
No, I think I internalized it myself enough to be like, don't say how you feel because you've known this for 5 or 6 years and you know how you feel about boys and guys and, growing up. But yeah, it was definitely something where it was like, don't talk about it. And I remember going to our parish, to the rectory with my mom, and she was like, picked me up after school. She was, I have to go talk to Father Gannon. He was long gone. God bless him. And she was like, we need to figure out the funeral services and his mass. And he's like, oh, what'd he die of? And she was being the good Catholic Irish woman that she was, told him the truth. And he goes, yeah, we don't do funeral services for people like that.
Oh
and
God.
For me, who had been an altar boy since I was, first grade, literally, you're, serving with these priests and whatever, you're going through, marriages and baptisms and funerals and whatever. It's like, how are you going to turn somebody down? And I think that was my first time ever, like, questioning, like, what the hell am I in the middle of?
Yeah.
How is that okay that you're turning down someone being just blessed to go and, like, let him get buried, whatever. Long story short, they end up condoning the funeral services if in the obituary it said cancer, number one. And number two, my parents had to sign something, which to this day, I'll never know what it was, that they signed, but basically not talking about it.
An NDA for a fucking funeral.
I mean, I would call it that. They never told me and my brothers what it was, but I remember very vividly being like, why are they signing off on like something? And like, my dad wrote it off as, oh, it was like a money thing. Like we're paying for the funeral or whatever. Like we're donating to the church. And I do wonder in the back of my head, did they say like, we'll give you X amount of dollars,
oh my God,
to do this for us?
Funeral.
Right, exactly. I don't know if that was the case or not, but there was also the point where we got to the cemetery as well, where because of how he died, they wouldn't bury him body. He had to be cremated.
Yeah.
So that's for most people a very personal choice, and most families a personal choice. It was a Catholic cemetery, and they basically said because of how he died, he needs to be cremated.
And was that a fear of exposure to the disease?
100%.
Which at that point, I understand was still, but like by that point of 91, 92, we already knew that's not how it happens. But with people who still had a fear about it,
right?
That's just, God, was that your mom's brother or your dad's?
My dad's brother. Yeah.
Did he ever reconcile that? Did he go to his deathbed just with that kind of like?
He never really talked about it. I mean, for lack of whatever, our family, mom, dad, and then the 3 guys, we never really talked about that kind of personal stuff. It was always internalized, and I think that was part of the Catholicism that really gets you, where it's like, don't talk about things, because if you do, you're admitting it. If you're admitting it, you're sinning, and it's like, no, that's not how this should work.
Catholic guilt.
Yes. Oh, Catholic guilt times a million. Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah.
What about you and your family? When did you start coming out to yourself?
6th grade. I said I was bisexual.
In 6th grade?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was just like, this is part of who I am. But, I think like a lot of people, they say they're bi. It's a, transition to admitting they're fully gay. So I, passed a couple notes to girls, 2 in, my whole life. And one in 6th grade, and she's like, no. I was like, well, good, because I don't really want to date you. And then once again in high school, like 9th grade, I was like, and she was like, no. And I was like, okay, good. I've been rejected twice. I don't like women.
Yeah.
I'm gay. So like 6th grade, I was like, I definitely like men, maybe women too. And then it was probably high school when I was like, it was shorter than that. It was like a year or 2. I was like, you don't like women. You just don't. So
I have in that closet right there, I have every single note that me and my high school girlfriend Stacy wrote to each other. I have all the ones that she wrote to me. And they're just like, there's probably over 100.
Wow.
Honestly. Because I never throw away greeting cards. I never throw away notes. Like I'm a hoarder in that sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I always go back and look, and it's just like, none of the feelings were false. I loved her, like I really did, but it was just, I didn't want to touch her boobs.
Yeah. That's definitely part of it. Yeah. I was like, what if she says yes and I have to kiss her? Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
So thank you to both of them for rejecting me.
Did your parents have a hard time with it?
No.
What a blessing.
Well, my mom came out for me. Yeah.
On your behalf?
On my behalf.
Okay, I thought you meant like
not
lesbian
to me,
too.
no.
I was like, oh wow.
But she
Plot
asked me
twist.
if I was gay.
Okay.
And that was tough. Not that question. So she called me, and I was 21, and she said, "Oh, chit chat. We talked a lot, and we had a joint bank account." And I always used to yell at her. I was like, "Quit looking at what I spend money on," because it was always, "You eat at Red Robin too much. You go out to," and I was like,
okay, but Red Robin has the best honey mustard in the world.
And when you're a college kid, you can eat all the fries you want,
Yes.
get full, and it's, back then it was like $10 for a burger. And
Red Robin.
Red Robin.
I'm going to get them to sponsor this episode.
Yeah. With that shake sauce.
Yes,
shake,
yes.
whatever. But then I was like, I hear like something in her voice. I'm like, what are you looking at? She goes, and I was 21 because I had gone to a bar, and she goes, what's Man Ray?
What's the manhole?
No, Man Ray.
Man Ray?
And I was like, it's a bar. She goes, is it a gay bar? I was like, awkward silence. Yes. Awkward silence. Are you gay? Yes. Me. Where are you right now? She's like, I'm at work. I'm like, you work in cubicles with a bunch of other middle-aged chatty women, and you are not a quiet person. I have to go. And so that was that. That was fine. I was like, okay, that was really whatever. But she had forced me to live with some family friends who were very religious. And
because you're coming out?
No, prior to this, the place I was living at that time, because they had a good amount of money, and their son was living in the same. They were from Eastern Washington. We were living in Seattle, and they're like, "Oh, you should live with them. Their rent's really cheap." I had no money. I was like, "I don't want to," for this exact reason.
Yeah.
They're really religious. I used to go to church camp with them. I used to, when we would visit Eastern Washington to their town, like sometimes we'd go to church. Like I just knew, and I was like, "This is just." An accident waiting to happen, and it was. So their son was having premarital sex, which was not allowed, and the family parents came over to visit and found condoms all over the house, which were not from sex. It's because he was a doofus and used them as like balloons. So him and his friends would drink and like blow condoms. So they were everywhere around the house.
Straight men are literally the worst.
Do not ask me about like the number of Dr. Peppers he drank and where they were. But the parents were like, whose condoms are these? And I was not there, and he blamed it on me. And I was like, so their mom called my mom, and they had a huge fight. And my mom to this day will not tell me what was discussed, but she said, they're no longer friends, and she goes, I will never tell you what that conversation was about, but we will not be friends. And that was it.
Good for mama.
Yes, absolutely. But I missed the part where for like a couple weeks she emailed me and asked, are they yours? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, how do I believe you? I'm like, because I'm telling you. So there's like a couple weeks where I was like, I don't know why you're believing them, but I get it. They'd been family friends for 30, 40 years. And then eventually she was just like, no, you're my son. And, we had a, heart to heart. And that's when she had that conversation.
Very interesting that both of our stories have parents not telling us things to try to protect us.
Yes.
Which, looking down,
that's being a parent
now. Yeah, but also at the ages that we were, and then subsequently, we could have handled it, but also you could have shared with us later in life.
Yeah.
Instead of us having this, like,
I think if I asked my mom, she would give me some of the broader strokes of that conversation. But I don't care.
We can't say strokes on this podcast.
No,
I'm just kidding. It sounds like a
medical term.
Word, yeah.
The band.
Oh, I was thinking of medical term.
Oh, the band.
I feel like it's ageist.
So when did you come out to your parents then?
The year after I moved to California.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yep, LA will pull you right out of the closet. The funny thing is, I was already I came out to friends in college. My first First person I came out to friend-wise was senior year, girl that I co-edited the newspaper with, and she was lesbian, and we were best of friends. And everyone was always like, "You two should date, but too bad you're a lesbian. He's gay."
Are y'all still
I'm
friends?
not gay. How dare you say that? But she is a lesbian because she has a girlfriend.
Are y'all still friends?
Oh yeah, best
Oh.
friends. Yeah. Her and her wife have a bagel shop in Baltimore.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which they opened during the pandemic.
A bagel shop in Baltimore.
Love it. What more can you ask for?
That sounds like a really good country song.
But she was the first one to come out, and she was the one that honestly was like, don't be stupid. No one cares. Everyone knows anyway. You're not flamboyant, but also you haven't had a girlfriend in 4 years in college. You are in theater. You are, do music.
Yeah.
You do all these things that, everyone pretty much knows. You'd rather go to a Broadway show than a ball game.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sounds good. So she kind of walked me through, I'd say, the rest of senior year. And then grad school is a whole different ballgame for me. I was like, I'm just going to tell everybody. And it got to the point where it was like, great, we know, no one cares.
Real quick, though, because you just referenced ball game again.
Yes.
So I wonder if, as gay men, we can change that colloquialism to it's a whole new ball game. It's a whole new Broadway show.
There you go.
We'll just
it's a whole
change
new
it.
drag show.
Yeah, it's a whole new. Yeah.
But yeah, so I was never like scared after that. I was very much like living my best life, going to clubs in New York City, like the whole, did the whole nine yards, doing whatever. But then when it came to family, for me, it was just like, I want to protect them, knowing that they very much are still very involved in that world of religion and church and whatever. And my mom was a lector. She was a Eucharistic minister. My dad ran our parish soccer league. Like, they were very much ensconced in that world. My brothers, who had since moved to California, when I went to visit them, it was like, you have the whole month of July, take our car, live with me for 2 weeks, drive wherever you want, do whatever you want, live with the other brother for 2 weeks, do whatever you want. And I got to explore every facet of Southern California.
He means motherload.
No. 11 bar.
11, rest in peace.
11. And Here Lounge, rest in peace.
Also rest in peace.
Yes.
Here Lounge had the best hot dogs. Club 11 was the best venue for Musical Monday
Correct.
until the Chapel,
Right.
which is where we're going tonight.
Yes, correct.
Which I just want to give a quick plug because it's so important that the Nerdy Musical Theater Queens landed the best venue in the world at the Abbey. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's
true.
so vindicating, and it's just poetic justice. So here's to Ishka and everyone else who made that
Cheers.
possible.
Yes.
Even, I guess,
Cheers.
David fucking Cooley.
Love
Yes.
it. Seriously. But yeah, so when I came here, it was really just exploring me, being able to go to like bars and clubs that I never really would have gone to in New York, or didn't exist upstate where I lived.
Yeah.
And then when I moved here, it was 2011, moved into my first place, which was my own, because I lived with my brother for a while. The next June, I think it was, had my brothers over and my ex-sister-in-law over for dinner, and right before dinner, I just was like, "Hey, so I'm living in West Hollywood," and they're like, "Yeah, we know." And I'm like, "Yeah," and I think there's a reason why I live here, right? And they're like, "We probably have some sneaking suspicions." Told them, said the actual words, which in all honesty, at that point I was 32, 33.
Wow.
I was like, those three words I never thought I would say to either of my brothers ever. And they were both like, "Oh my God, let me introduce you to my coworker, let me introduce you to my friend, I'm like, okay, that's not like throwing the
Shift it back.
Right. But I was not what I expected at all. I mean, I knew that they were going to be fine with it. They've lived here for a while. And then they basically were like, "When are you telling mom and dad? You need to do that ASAP."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I know." So a month later, that July, wrote a very, very long letter to them, which I was going to mail. And I was like, you know what? Let's just get this over with. I ended up sending it as an email, which once the email got there, I got a phone call from my mom, and I was literally pulling into my garage from work, and she was bawling her eyes out. And she was like, "Okay, we're going to do this." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, we are." And she's like, "First off, we love you. Second off, we just want you to be happy. Third off, I wish you had told me years ago." She goes, "I could have told you probably when you were 10 or 11, because I knew for a fact just the way you behaved." She goes, "But as a mother, it's not my place to put to do that to you. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And she's like, your dad wants to talk to you. He gets on the phone. And this is like a very reserved, unemotional. I've only, at that point in my life, I only ever seen him cry once before, which is when his brother had passed away. That was it. No emotion in his life, is just the way he was. Very stoic. And he was very much like, I'm so glad that you felt you could tell us. This is like exactly, you know, where we want to be with you. Like, we can have these kind of conversations. And he's like, you know, one day I'm going to welcome your husband as my new son. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, what?
Where's my real dad?
Right, no, exactly. Like, completely threw me off guard. Totally not what I expected, especially after knowing what he went through with his
Was he
brother.
supportive of your uncle?
Very much.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was basically because of the relationship that he had. So he was also one of 3 brothers. His older brother moved to the States in 1967, became a... what's the word? You can't really say gentrified, but he became as white as possible. Mm-hmm. Never spoke Spanish from the day he set foot on United States soil. Became a PGA pro, where he taught golf and became like an actual, you know, golf professional. Lives somewhere in South Florida with every other Republican who's rich. I haven't talked to him probably 15 years. I mean, if that. So my dad and his younger brother, who's the one that died, they were very much the closest, you know, best of friends, whatever. So he always felt that he had to take him under his wing, because when they came to the States in 1969, it was with my grandmother and the 2 of them. So it was always like, we're doing this, we're going to go follow, but we're going to keep like our lives how we want it. And we're going to like make this our thing. But yeah, so I think he understood, because of how everything panned out with my uncle, which was a big part of my letter to my parents, why it took so long for me to like talk to them about it. He was completely supportive, 100%. Right. I was just, again, not what I expected.
Such a blessing that both of you have experiences that were non-traumatic in the sense 100%. Of like at least, you know, losing your family, because that's, I mean, I'm really thankful to hear that, especially at your ages.
Yeah. Ages? Wow.
Ages.
I'm just kidding. We're all the same age. I just wear a lot of moisturizer. Anyway.
I'll cover up.
So I want to get to Handle with Care now, because I actually went into this thinking that a lot of your efforts with working with the unhoused came from perhaps some sort of trauma as it relates to faith and sexuality, which is not accurate, it seems. So how have you always had a philanthropic mind? Like, how did it, give me the rundown of Handle with Care. I mean, for someone who's never heard of it, tell us all about it.
Yeah, Handle with Care started out because we were walking to the Abbey, Musical Mondays Tonight, and we saw a group of unhoused people kind of on the walk, and one of my friends said, oh, that's terrible, you know, whatever. And one of us was like, we should do something about it. So over cocktails, we created Handle with Care. Handle with Care makes emergency backpacks for unhoused people, has them delivered to the streets, and has resource guides if they are interested in all the different resources available: jobs, housing, drug and alcohol treatment, mental health treatment, other food banks, anything they want. The biggest thing that we kind of clued in on is when nonprofits don't have money or they lose money, they lose the street outreach. And so the backpacks are kind of that connection, because most people who are unhoused, based on research, don't trust people right away. Right. Obviously, there's many good reasons for that, until about 7 or 8 visits. So using these backpacks are kind of like those 7 or 8 visits to try to get them to be comfortable talking to us, talking to the other nonprofits that help us hand out their bags, whatever the case may be. But we're kind of that bridge between the services is what we do.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So where do your resources come from?
We fundraise everything, we buy everything. So people donate, we have the best volunteers, we have the best donors, we have no money. So, you know, these people give and give and give, which has been great to see. You know, you see someone at happy hour one day, and then the next day they're helping us move boxes and buy feminine hygiene products and dog bags and food and water and all these different things that we give out. So it's all volunteer based.
But how, I mean, where are you getting your money from?
So we do fundraisers, Hamburger Mary's, we do their drag bingo. We get a bunch of prizes and people buy tables, and then we split the money with Hamburger Mary's.
Do you need donations as well for like silent auctions and stuff?
Yes, if people have donations, if they have gifts, if they have anything like that, because we have to, as a nonprofit, bring those to Hamburger Mary's. Hamburger Mary's provides the space, the drag queen, obviously the food and the drinks,
Yep.
and we do everything else.
So then, if you're listening and you'd like to donate goods, if you work for somebody maybe that has some gay notoriety, or just maybe has a spa, or has anything that could
Restaurants,
be
haircuts.
Yeah, anything that could be a gift card scenario. That'd be great. You can reach out to me, and I will put you in touch. You'll know my social media, and we're going to get theirs in a minute as well. So what are the needs does Handle with Care have aside from just hands and bodies?
So our goal is to grow. So we're expanding cities. We're launching in Northern California. So if there's anyone out there that is in another city and wants to take this on in their city, that's one of our big goals.
Didn't you just sign somewhere or sign a...
Northern California. We're starting in Sacramento.
Oh, cool.
A friend that I went to law school with. We already have Portland.
Great.
In a school, Catholic school, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Because is there any kind of, association with LGBTQ with Handle with Care because of how it was founded?
I mean, all of the founders were gay.
Yeah.
Our board is predominantly LGBTQ. There's loose affiliations, but we give out our bags to Hollywood, West Hollywood, Mid-City. We have more trans people than probably the average nonprofit, not probably, for sure.
Yeah.
LGBTQ is a big thing. When we talk to people, a lot of them are fleeing trauma from southern states. That's how they end up here as 16, 18-year-old trans kids, and, so that's a big part of what we do. And we don't explicitly say it. I think it's just core to who we are. We don't need to say it.
So at the Catholic school, though, how does it? They don't talk about it, or it's allowed to be talked about?
It's allowed to be talked about. It's my nephew started it.
Wow.
So they had to do a service project, and he said, "Uncle Kelly, can I copy this?" And so it's been, tears of joy to have this legacy that I helped create. One, be accepted, and two, that they would want to do that. How cool is that?
But you're looking for other markets. You'd like to have Atlanta, Memphis, New Orleans, New York.
Absolutely. Seattle, San Diego,
So let that be the word that we put out, is that if you're listening and you have resources to get something like this off the ground, please, let's do it. But what I like about it too, because it's hard to get gays away from the bar.
Absolutely.
For a variety of reasons, mostly because we're also looking for husbands. You can find us on Hinge later. But I like that it doesn't say how you're living your life is wrong, come do this instead. It's saying we can get drinks and go help the unhoused.
Yeah, and it's an hour and a half of your day once a month. So if you want to go to the bars afterward, go ahead and do that. But, it's here. We have 20, 30, 40 people show up every time. They seem to love it. I love it. Mark loves it.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with it, Mark?
Oh, God, that's
at the
long
bars.
Sorry. Well, actually, no, it was. We were... a friend of mine, Jonathan, who no longer lives in LA anymore, unfortunately, he lives in Atlanta. He had recently started something with a friend of his where they were volunteering at a local church, basically doing something similar to this, but it was more so in-house.
Here in LA?
Here in LA. And I don't know where it was or what it was, but it was...
Well, it would either be... Because before COVID, I did the one at Hollywood United Methodist. So they had one, the Catholic Church has a food handout. The Presbyterian Church in Hollywood does something. A lot of churches here do something. I don't, as much as this is an anti-religion podcast, I do give credit for a lot of the churches here meeting the needs of the community.
Totally, yeah.
What was his last name?
Deason.
That name rings a bell.
You probably met him before. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so he had...
We love you, Jonathan.
I had said to me, he's like, it's a great way to meet people outside of the world of the bars and, whatever else. But also, growing up, I always did volunteerism. I was Habitat for Humanity, Big Brothers Big Sisters, you name it. It's like I had something to do with high school or college, grad school, that I was doing volunteerism. I couldn't find anything. Surprisingly, a lot of places I reached out to never got back to me, which was so frustrating. I was like, I will go to Santa Monica. I will go to, Hermosa, Manhattan. I will go wherever. And it was just a matter of either poor leadership or lack of communication or whatever. So long story short, he introduced me to our mutual friend Ross at Old Gym Bar. And he was like, oh, Ross and his friends just started something and they would probably use some help and whatever. It's like, sounds good. saw Ross at Gym Bar. He made the connection, and then Kellen
Ross was
there.
at Gym Bar?
Shocking, right? He did at High Tops.
Hi, Ross.
Hi, Ross. Love you. But yeah, then he introduced me to Kellen and was like, here's what we do. This is what we're once a month and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, easy. And the rest is history.
So then if you're in LA, how can you get involved?
Social media, Handle with Care. Is it Handle with Care or Handle with Care LA?
At Handle with Care LA, I believe.
We'll look it up right now, but our email
Yeah, we're
is...
going to edit this part out. Just let's find the actual website and plug it.
Oh, well, no, the website is handlewithcareus.org.
Okay.
If you want to start over and ask us our
Yeah.
contacts, I'll do them all.
Go ahead.
So if someone here in LA wants to get involved, how can they?
So on social media, we have Instagram, which is Handle with Care LA. Our email is handlewithcarela@gmail.com. And what else do we have?
Our website is handlewithcareus.org.
Okay. So you've got LA, you've got Sacramento, you've got Portland.
Yes.
If you could pick your next city, where would it be?
Ooh, we're going to have different answers for this,
Yeah.
I think. You go first.
Mine's going to be Seattle. It's
Okay.
where I'm from.
okay.
But I have a second one, which is Vegas. Vegas has
such a need.
Yeah.
very big need, and it gets overshadowed by the glitz and the glam. I don't think most people know they have such a terrible problem
Yep.
with having unhoused people that
Yep.
just get pushed aside because you see the strip, it's glitzy, it's glam.
Is it glitzy and glam?
Well, for the
To the tourists from Dubuque. Love you all,
Sorry.
Dubuque.
Where would your dream city be, Mark?
It's a tie between San Diego and the desert. Like Palm Springs,
Yeah.
that whole stretch of the 111 down to Indio. It baffles me every time I'm there how many unhoused people are there. And I think to myself, when it's 120 degrees
Yeah.
in the middle of the summer, where are these people?
Yeah.
What are they doing? How are they surviving? You know, are there cooling centers? Are there provisions? Are there, what is it that it just there? And there's so many,
Yeah.
especially post pandemic, or you can't really say post anymore, but as we come to the end of the pandemic, hopefully,
Yeah.
so many people relocated out of the bigger cities to the desert.
Heck yeah.
And I think that's a big
And costs have gone up so much there.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
So y'all, if you're listening, you do have resources. Seriously, check it out. I know there's several organizations in the country that do great things like this, but if you're living in a market that doesn't have something that you wanted to have, this would be a great time to spearhead something on your own. One thing that I wanted to talk about as it relates to the unhoused is the exhaustion that specifically people of Los Angeles are experiencing surrounding the unhoused. And I know it's in every major city that has homeless crises, but I want to address some of the inaccuracies that people have about the unhoused, assumptions, and maybe just thoughts on how we overcome that exhaustion, because I think that we can't find solutions if so many people are just beaten down with and I shouldn't say beaten down because it's coming from a place of privilege, but it's exhausting to have compassion 24/7, to walk outside of your apartment at any hour of the day and run into a tent or someone, screaming to God. I mean, it's so. What are you seeing, or what are you seeing in terms of being an obstacle for you gaining volunteers, and what are you seeing as obstacles that our local governments are at least crediting with being impediments to finding solutions to these problems?
I mean, for us, I think most volunteers, if they want to volunteer, are going to volunteer.
Sure.
Whether the homelessness crisis is 2% or 1 million. And I think for us, actually, what was surprising to me is a lot of volunteers change their attitudes the first time they go out and meet someone that's unhoused. Because they have a preconceived notion, they see it on the streets.
What, so you mean like that they assume that they're drugged out or they're crazy?
Exactly. And then they have a conversation, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
What people see on a daily basis is the worst of the worst.
Sure.
People tend to forget that homelessness is a very complex issue. So those are, 20% of the people.
Yeah.
There are people that are living in shelters full time. There are people that couch surf that are considered homeless. People living in their cars that you might not see that are also unhoused people that are worthy of our help.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing that I stress a lot when I talk about this issue is the people you're seeing are the ones that need the most help.
Sure.
But there's a lot of help that can be done to solve homelessness that won't require that level of help for the people you're see talking to God and whatnot.
Right.
those are going to be the heavier lifts, but they deserve our compassion too.
Of course, because there's a level of pride also with. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I've never been unhoused, thank God. But if I were, I can't imagine that I would disclose it even to a point of going to a shelter or going to a handout, because I would be so embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I know that that's not a good thing to have pride, but like, or in that regard. But so it makes me think like, well, if that would be me, how many other people also won't reach out for help when they need it?
The other thing that I remind people is a lot of the people who have either addiction problems or mental health problems develop them because they're homeless.
Oh my God, yeah.
Not, they were mentally stable and they didn't have addiction problems, but being on the streets causes one to do some things that you wouldn't do in your house. And
just to escape the reality of your new life living on a street. I mean, my God. Mark, I feel like you remember, he goes by Drew on the streets, but the guy that lived would panhandle. Is that a bad word to use, panhandle?
I don't think it's the best.
Okay, I'm sorry. What would be a word that you could use to describe asking?
Ask for donations,
okay.
ask for money.
So there we go. We learned something new today. Thank you for educating me. But when I first moved into my old apartment, I had, and I still have, that I struggle with a sense of entitlement, as a lot of people do. And there was an unhoused individual and I was managing the building, but there was an unhoused individual sleeping in my garages. And the first week of lockdown, remember that week it was just pouring down rain every day, so it made it even seem more post-apocalyptic than it really even was. But anyway, so I just, as you know, I had just lost a job. I had, was living in fear like the rest of us, yada yada. Had this individual living in my garages, and I was just lashing out like, because I was daily telling him to get off my property. Anyway, things got heated between the two of us. If anybody knows me, you know that as a ginger, I can elevate my my aggression quite quickly. Anyway, that's another podcast. But anyway, so it was just awful. And it turns out this guy was an artist, and his studio out on the coast, on the west side, burned down without any renters or insurance, and so he lost everything, not just his location, but everything he had created in order to sell and make money. All of his art, all his supplies, which is so expensive. And we developed a really pretty strong kinship, and we still keep in touch. Actually, his name is Richard, and many people know him because Steve Harvey and Oprah and all these people have actually purchased his art. He got famous on TikTok by some activist. And I actually got to go to his showing at the Sofitel several months ago, and watch him be celebrated by these huge influencers and make tons of money. And it's such a reward to see that story of someone that's on the streets, living the worst chapter of their life probably, and then have either some trust for the universe or in the divine to where this thing happens and their life is forever changed. And so, I mean, how can we facilitate those stories? How do we? Because obviously not everybody has the skill set to be an artist on the street that they're picked out by Oprah Winfrey or Steve Harvey and wham bam thank you ma'am. But what I mean, because it's not enough just to say oh, you get to go sleep in a bed for a night. Right. Oh, I'm going to give you this one shower this week. How do you keep people's spirits, the people that volunteer with you, how do you keep them lifted to where they are able to be you know what, this is a marathon, not a sprint? Does it make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, I think, one, we celebrate stories like that.
Sure.
Homelessness is not going to be cured in a day, so as long as we're seeing progress go forward, and that's, I think, what frustrates residents of LA, is they're not seeing the progress.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is we have systemic problems that can't be fixed by a bumper sticker or anything like that.
Or a hashtag.
Or a $20 donation. But we're starting to see change at the state level. Housing has finally become the number one issue in polling of what people care about, what the politicians are working on. I mean, they're 2 decades too late, but, so be it. So we just need to keep up political pressure. Gavin Newsom is out with a new care court proposal. I haven't studied it. He hasn't put out a lot of details, but it is designed to get the people on the streets, off the streets, who are in the worst sorts. The severest of mental illnesses, the biggest health challenges, the biggest addiction problems, and mandating treatment. but not in the way it's been done before.
When you say mandating treatment, do you mean like in a conservatorship kind of fashion?
It would be, yes. And again, he hasn't put out all the proposals, but it's going to be.
I know that word is a triggering buzzword for people, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean something like what we know to be Britney Spears' situation.
It's not going to be Britney Spears is a mess of a story, and needs to be fixed. But it would be different. It would be a separate court that is a drug and alcohol and a treatment court where the judge is, from what I've read,
like an actual legal court.
A legal court.
Oh my God, that's fascinating.
So it's going to ruffle some feathers, but I think homeless advocates, us included, but there's others that are way more against this proposal, are going to have to just admit some people probably need someone else to help them.
Yeah.
With a carrot and a stick. And
a lot of patience.
And a lot of patience and a lot of love.
Yeah.
But some people can't help themselves, and that's through no fault of their own.
Yeah.
So that's a proposal that just came out.
Well, how do you? Because I mean, I feel like, and maybe this is just because of sensation on shows that we watch about conservatorship. Because there was that Netflix documentary a couple of years ago that was just like, oh my God, conservators are making how much money a year just to like make decisions for people? That's a crock of shit. Yeah. So how do we regulate, or I guess moderate conservators into not making it about a lucrative career choice?
This isn't going to have a conservatorship. So traditionally, a conservator, the judge will say, Bob, the conservator, you're now in charge of Britney Spears. And then in that case, it was a runaway train and it just lasted too long. This won't have that independent person. It's the judge. And then he says, okay, you need to go to this treatment center or you need to go to this psych facility.
Right.
But the judge is trained and his staff is trained in these issues.
It sounds like a more invested caseworker.
It is. And each court system, so LA County Superior Court, San Francisco Superior Court, has to create their own with guidance from the state. So it's, we as volunteers and people that care about this issue will be able to influence this with our proposals or with their proposals and our feedback.
Is there a model in another state or country that we're following?
I don't know. I know they didn't just create it out of scratch.
Right.
But it's also the theory of housing first.
Yeah.
Which is another,
and that's about dignity, if I'm not mistaken, right?
We tried and failed to say you don't get a house until you're clean, you're sober, or you take
until you work hard enough. Yeah.
Right. And my favorite story when I was in undergrad in Seattle was they wanted to build a very small, wet house, so you could still drink there, but you couldn't do drugs and you can't do crime.
Right.
Those were the rules. The city said, let's look at the 50 worst offenders in terms of taxpayer dollars spent, ambulance rides, nights in jails, emergency rooms, etc., and offered them to be the first people to live here. And the neighbors fought it for something like 8 years and finally lost every lawsuit, and it was a resounding success. The cost versus what they're spending on previous services cut in half. And then the dignity that they gave back. They interviewed a guy on, I think, NPR, and they said, tell us about your first 6 months here or whatever. He goes, I still drink, but I drink like a 6-pack a day. I'm like, I know a lot of people that do that instead of,
and function just fine.
Yeah.
Right.
And he goes, but I can take my pills because they don't get stolen on the street. There's a nurse downstairs, so if I have a minor issue, I can call my kids and I have a place to get mail from my family.
Yeah.
I can watch TV instead of, having to go into a department store and watch, all of these different things. I was like, and we need to consider that a success. He's still drinking 6 beers, but his health is on track, less cost to taxpayers.
Well, you know what? 6 beers is better than 6 needles.
Yeah.
Or 6 pills.
Well, he was drinking I think he said a 5th of vodka a day at some point. He goes, I was numbing the pain because I would wake up and someone stole my backpack and my diabetes and heart disease medications were gone. So, I mean, those opportunities are out there. We just need to advocate for them more and fight back when people say no, they're not worthy. And I think that story illustrates how left-leaning people and right-leaning people can come together. Yeah. Certain people care more about taxpayer dollars. Some people care more about the person getting the help and not. But that illustrates traditional Republican values of saving money and taxpayers, and the left, social services for people can come together and work together.
What about the people that say things like, well, they made their choices in life to get to this point. I mean, you hear that all the fucking time. What do you say to them?
A lot of things that lead to homelessness are not their choices. The housing affordability problem, I didn't create it. The guy that's on the street by my house didn't create it.
You mean it's expensive to live here?
Yeah, sure is. Yeah. And I, in that situation, I tell them, there, but for the grace of God, I is really,
Please don't bring God to this podcast.
I'm so sorry. I forgot that this is
I'm kidding.
Anything to do about religion in this podcast.
Don't bring her into this. Oh yeah. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I know. I hate when people gender God him, and I just gender God her. Okay, fine. They, them, theirs.
But a lot of the people that we've come in contact with, especially the trans community, I would say are disowned by family.
Yes.
They come here hoping, they have a big goal set in mind. I'm going to go to LA. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to be found, or I'm going to, find,
or just be
find
around
my people. Yeah. Find my chosen family. And that just doesn't happen for them that way. And so they realize, oh shit, this is actually really hard.
Yeah.
And I can't survive on what I thought I could. And now I get sucked into this world of, I have a community, but now we are, outside and we're unhoused, and what do we do for each other? They do establish in a way a community, which is interesting. I mean, the times that we've gone out and actually met people, we always tell them it's like 4 or 5 times that you have face-to-face connection with an unhoused person before they actually will trust you. So it's like, great, you gave me a bag, that's the last time I'm ever going to see you. But when they see us repetitively coming out there and being like, you're the guys that have like the blue bag handles, whatever it is, like, oh, you're those people. Yes, we're those people. So it's like they kind of build a rapport with you. And we have, going back to earlier what we talked about, we have success stories. There are so many. The media doesn't care about success stories.
I know.
That's what it comes down to. They care about the nurse that was, killed at a bus stop by an unhoused person who was mentally ill.
Yeah.
That is a horrible situation. That is one of 65,000 people in this city. Not discounting it, but again, it's kind of like there are those stories that are out there that just don't get the recognition that they should.
Yeah. And when you say 65,000, you mean 65,000 unhoused. Can you talk about NIMBY versus YIMBY? Because, Kellen, you actually educated me on this, because I thought it meant one thing. It don't.
He educated me on this as well.
So
he's very much into this, and I love it.
Because I think, just so YIMBY versus NIMBY is not in my backyard. Thank you, Rent. Rent the musical.
No Day But Today.
Yeah. No, that's when Maureen, she sees, not in my backyard utensils, go back to China. I played Mark twice. Always the Mark, never a Mimi. My friend Zinni just told me that. No, but, and so then YIMBY would be yes in my backyard. I always thought it was unhoused facilities in my backyard, or like even just unhoused individuals in my backyard versus not in my backyard. So give me the rundown.
Yeah, YIMBYs, also it's hard because YIMBYs each have their own specific, but the kind of global viewpoint is we want housing everywhere.
Right.
My backyard, your backyard, downtown yard.
Beverly Hills backyards.
Definitely
Yeah.
Beverly Hills
Everywhere.
and Santa Monica, who had not built enough over the years and other issues. But yeah, it just means if we're going to solve our homelessness crisis and our affordability crisis, those are two separate things. We've got a problem with people living on the streets that shouldn't live there, and also people that can barely afford the rent that they pay every month. So YIMBYs as a group care about both of those issues. Both of them can be solved or greatly reduced by building more everywhere. And you can't just put it in little pockets of the city. We have historically underbuilt in California by about half for 30, 40 years. So,
and it's tended to go into neighborhoods that are, let's say, less than desirable, which is an indictment on people who are underpaid and overworked and don't make a ton of money, right?
Yeah. And we have, going back to redlining, from the 40s and 50s, where zoning policies were put in place to keep people of color out of white areas. You couldn't be racist anymore because the Supreme Court said, oh, that's not allowed anymore. Good. Now we're just going to transfer it into a sneaky zoning thing, so we still keep
public transportation thing.
Yeah. The buses only go this way; they don't come to Beverly Hills
or to West Hollywood or
trains.
Beverly Hills is suing or was suing to keep the subways out of their area because they didn't want people of color coming from other areas. Less desirable in their mindset.
Yeah.
So yeah, but what gets overlooked in that battle of NIMBY versus YIMBY is NIMBYs will say, oh, YIMBYs are just pro-development and want developers to get rich. But YIMBYs also support tenant protections, fixing redlining, going after landlords that illegally discriminate on Section 8 vouchers, all these different things. It's just that...
And as someone who used to manage properties, I can attest to the number of owners that do discriminate against the Section 8 vouchers.
Which I believe is illegal in California.
Sure is.
Yes, it is.
Can't,
sure is.
You can't care about where the money comes from.
Yep.
If they have the money, you got to take them.
Yep.
Just like anyone else.
Yep.
So,
well, because you can't mandate morality. Guys, how do you change someone's mind from becoming a NIMBY to a YIMBY? Or how do you change someone's heart from becoming a NIMBY to a YIMBY?
I think there's hard NIMBYs and soft NIMBYs, and the hard ones they're too far gone.
Is that entitlement? Is it fear?
There's racism involved there. It's a lot that if we build a lot of housing, we're no longer going to see a house that sold last year for $1 million go for 1.2 million.
Right.
A lot of people bank on that for their retirement, profit, greed. So a lot of people are just about money. Racism's in there, but the people that we can convert, using a religious term.
I told you to leave them out of this.
never. Have these kind of conversations, right?
Yeah.
There's really good books on redlining that when I read Twitter too much, there's a certain book, and I don't know what it is. But a lot of people are like, I read that book and I changed my mind.
Yeah.
Just because they thought it was the same thing. Oh, just buy your house, work hard, you can do it. Well, no, a lot of people can't do that because we put in systems in place to prevent a lot of people.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, maybe we should, work on some of these issues.
Yeah.
Mandating less parking seems like a very policy wonky thing.
Right.
A parking spot in LA, if you tell a developer they have to build it, is about $40,000 or $50,000. If you say, okay, build half of what you normally did, because cities mandate parking.
Yeah.
A lot of YIMBYs say, let the market dictate that, right? Just because a developer will build parking if he knows or she knows that the market needs it.
Sure.
But a lot of places we build so much parking, it's insane, and then they're empty, and now we've driven up the cost of a condo by $50,000.
Yep.
Unnecessarily. So having these weird conversations about parking spots,
I remember a couple years ago, there was a breakdown of how much a single parking spot is worth in Los Angeles. They counted every single parking spot in the city and found out that they quantified some value, and it was stupid. I mean, it was like what you would pay in rent for a parking spot.
Oh, yeah.
It's
That's
insane. I'm not a huge podcast listener. I know cue the irony because I have a podcast, but I did just listen to one because I love Puerto Rico called La Brega, LA space BREGA, and I think it means the struggle. And anyway, so it's 8 episodes, but I think the third episode is called Levittown. And there's several cities in the country called Levittown, and they're basically experiments in forced middle-class neighborhoods. And so they built one in Puerto Rico to provide a counter to the Cold War, to the communist Cold War, to show that capitalization works. But I feel like the YIMBY-NIMBY conversation almost has a correlation on a macro level to mainland versus Puerto Rico, or even mainland versus Hawaii, back when that was first founded as a state. Puerto Rico would be the only Spanish-speaking state we would have in terms of their first language, and also would provide a rainforest to our ecology. Is that the right word? Ecological, our ecosystem, I guess, for the country. But it's basically they forced this idea of the middle class onto this territory that they won't allow to be a state or vote for the president. But in that, they were needing, hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans to leave in order for there to be a sustained middle class concept, because there were too many people living there to sustain a middle class. And so the whole thing failed, and now you can go to this neighborhood, and it's like 20 minutes outside of San Juan, I think, and these gorgeous, you feel like you're on any main street in small town America, but they don't have enough people that can live there who make the kind of money where you could afford to live there. Even today, this is from the 60s. But it just seems like this, like you said earlier, it's so systemic, this idea of this crisis that just not only maintains, but increases, that we just can't figure the fuck out.
Yeah.
So is it, I mean, we're doing all these things on a state level and a local level, but is it a federal thing that we should be discussing? Because every region is so different.
Yes and no. The biggest changes are going to come out of the state and local level.
Okay.
The state of California has decided most cities are really bad at housing and let NIMBYs control because that's who votes people in at the local level. And they've started passing laws that override cities.
Right.
Big political fights. I'm very happy the state's doing it.
Sure.
But Portland, several years ago, got rid of single-family zoning. So most of Los Angeles, if you buy a plot of land or you buy a single-family home, you can't tear down and build anything more than a single-family home.
Right. And you can't even get an ADU, but I think they changed that law, right?
That's one of the state laws because those were banned in most cities.
And an ADU, just so y'all know, is I forget what it stands.
Accessory dwelling unit.
Yes, which is basically like a little apartment that's on your
casita,
backyard.
a cottage.
That you could subsidize your rent by renting out to somebody.
Exactly.
And they're real cute, y'all.
I love ADUs. I want an ADU. I can't say on this podcast what ADUs do to me, but...
Oh, what? Well, you can. We cuss on this one.
Oh, no. It gives me a boner.
Oh, wow.
I think ADUs are the coolest thing and just a wonderful part of a solution. Yep. It also... A lot of immigrant families are in love with them because it allows generational family living, which, white Americans don't have as much of a tradition, but
Look, I love my mama, but she ain't living with me.
Exactly. But there's a lot.
Yeah, sorry, Nancy. He said.
But we're a melting pot, and we already have them too.
Yeah.
Especially in South LA, garages have been converted for decades. So they're already there. Yeah. Let's just make them legal.
Well, and there was that move after I think World War II, and it was, I don't know if it was a federal, state, or local thing, but it was some government program that incentivized basically dividing up your home into a multi-family situation. Like the house that I live in right now used to be one giant mansion, and it was incentivized for whoever owned it then to split it up into a triplex to house the boys coming home from war. But it's almost like that's for people that deserve it,
right? Versus
the people in the streets that don't deserve it.
Yes, absolutely. And the federal government has money, so lots of it. That's what the federal government will do. They pay for the Section 8 vouchers. They pay for, all of those federal programs, and they give out affordable housing funds. But the state dictates what gets built, where it gets built, who builds it, and the cities.
And there's other programs too aside from Section 8, like there's PATH. There's a couple others as well that basically provide like a certain amount of money that goes to rent every month for somebody that qualifies for it. Richard, that I was speaking about earlier, he qualified for it. We were trying to find him housing at one point during COVID, but I know that there's programs out there.
Veterans programs run through the VA that pay for a lot of your funding. Yeah. There's a lot.
And if anybody wants to look into PATH, it's People Assisting the Homeless. That was actually the first group I volunteered with in LA before I volunteered with Handle with Care.
Nice. All right. Well, anything else that we need to add about countering the misconceptions of unhoused people?
I've dominated. So
this is not necessarily
for once
a proven statistic, but something I read which was very thought-provoking. 98% of Americans have more in common with the homeless guy at the playground than they do with the billionaire in the penthouse.
Oh, of course.
But people don't think that way.
Right.
Which is the most crazy thing. You are more likely to become unhoused than you are to be rich. And
that breaks it down.
Yeah, like that it's like, wow, yeah, that no one thinks about it that way. Because you're all reaching for the stars and doing what you can to, be as great as you can be.
Live aspirationally.
Right. But you could be a paycheck away from being...
And many people are.
That neighbor. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for clarifying that.
Of course.
What would you say to the divine were they standing before you today, Kellen? Just to bring it back to the Lord.
Absolutely. I would want to question and ask how all the bad in the world is allowed to happen with someone that is supposed to have great powers. Yeah. To see so much suffering in the world that he or she or they could bring it into with their powers, it baffles me that that's how religion just operates.
I think Harry asked Dumbledore the same question one time.
Yes, I saw that.
Mark, what would you say to the divine were they standing before you?
3 easy words. God damn you.
Mm.
That's it. Pretty simple.
using the divine against the divine.
Yep.
I get
rubber,
it.
your glue. God.
I get it. Anything else you want to say about Handle with Care that we did not mention yet?
No, I mean, we are growing exponentially. We have had, I think, in the past 3 months, more volunteers on average than we've ever had in the past, which is amazing.
Right.
As we kind of like get back into the normalcy of this new world that we're all in. So we want to keep that steam going. And so anything we could get people to help us, we could use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So y'all can reach out to me. You can go to the websites mentioned a few minutes ago, or you can find them on social media. Where are your handles?
Handle with Care LA.
No, your handle, Kellen.
My handle is Kellen Martz. MARTZ.
Okay, Mark.
Mine is very difficult, but it's a marked man.
I know. Anytime I go to tag you on Instagram, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot, because I have a handle that's also not
Not your
my
name.
full name. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
It's because we have a brand, Mark.
We do.
Or you
Live up
joined,
to it.
or you joined Instagram late and your names were taken.
No, I had my
Mine.
original name. I had my original name.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And then I changed it to Hayes on It, because it sounds like if you're still like Hayes on It.
Yeah.
That's how I hear it in my head. Anyway. Did you not know that's what it was?
No.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was like he's on it, but it's like Hayes on it.
Yeah. It's my
Okay.
name. It's like a southern way to say, like,
Got it.
Hayes
I
on,
got
Hayes
that.
on
gay
it.
southern way
Don't
to
worry
say it.
about it. Hayes on
Hayes on it. Yeah.
Yeehaw,
It all
folks.
comes to pieces now.
I think that's only in your head that it sounds like that.
Now I'm gonna second guess myself.
You
about
can
this.
get a new one.
Fine.
No, I love this handle. It's also on the sign off for this.
Yeah.
So I don't want to re-record that.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we're going to go to the bar for Musical Mondays. I really appreciate y'all being here to talk about your stories. I know talking about things religious can be somewhat vulnerable, and also rehashing pain that you have gotten rid of or come to peace with. But anytime we talk about it, it helps people who don't have the way to articulate things in their own heads. So I really appreciate your hearts. And also for your voices with Handle with Care and what you're doing with that. I hope that this gets some traction in other markets. And we will see you next time. Say bye-bye to the folks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And all the people said, gay men. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Fagnostic Podcast hosted by me, Matt Hayes. You can find me at matthayes.com, that's MATHAYES.com, or on Just the Millennial socials at Hayes on It, HAYES on It. Please go subscribe, review, and share this podcast. And in the meantime, peace be with all y'all.
Hi, Michael Spicer here. Matt Hayes forgot to put my name in the credits of his podcast as the composer, but I'm here to tell you that I wrote the music for his podcast. Whatever it's called, I don't know.